morning, everybody. This is Doug, and you once again are listening to What's the Hazard. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good to see you. I'll make introductions in a moment. I hope everyone had a good week. I know some of you didn't, and unfortunately, that is often the case in our line of work. So hang in there. If there's anything that we can do for you, let us know. Certainly reach out to a friend or colleague if you need some support. We are going to talk about opportunities for networking and support here in just a minute with Kelvin, but I know how difficult that can be. But hopefully you had a good week, enjoy the weekend, and come back recharged and get after it again next week. So I had a really good week, and I'd like to talk about that just briefly. The program has never been about self-promotion. Frankly, I don't even know if I've ever mentioned my company name on this podcast, which is not important, but I really enjoy promoting other resources and other companies and consultants even, and I think that's worthwhile. But I started working with a mutual friend of ours a few months ago, maybe 18 months ago, Chris Bryant of Chris Bryant Safety. Everybody knows Chris Bryant if you do safety in this part of the country. And he and I came together in a collaboration, and we've been doing a lot of training together. Chris is an excellent trainer, as everyone knows. He's a unique trainer. And so we've been doing a lot of OSHA 10s and 30s, construction, general industry. You know, Chris is a HAZWOPER guy, hazardous materials, confined space. And so we've been going around the country doing 30-hour training. And, you know, I've been through a lot of training, and I can honestly say that I've never had an OSHA class that I didn't sleep in the 40 years that I've been doing OSHA stuff. But this is a really interesting collaboration. Chris and I are very similar in some respects and really quite different in other respects. And that makes for a really nice training collaboration. And so I'm really pleased right now, and we are staying very active and busy training. I guess, yeah, I just, you know, when you really hit on something that works well, it's very satisfying, you know? So anyway, enough of that. My guest this morning, for the fifth in a series of 5, the Great Plains ASSP chapter has sponsored a number of these episodes, and Kelvin Thurman is here. You are the king of ASSP, or what is your title?
President.
President. Is it? It's not a monarchy?
No monarchy here.
But that level of authority, certainly. Yes. Okay, good. Yep. Well, thank you for coming back.
Yep, you're welcome.
Andy, tell me your last name again.
It's Wetjen.
Wetjen.
Yep.
Okay, I'm looking at it's like Wetjen, but it's Wetjen.
That's what phonetically, sure, it's Wetjen. But
okay.
And it's funny because I ran into some people in Williamsburg, Iowa, same last name.
Really?
And they're like, "Oh, are you related to the so-and-so Weegians?" I'm like, "What?"
Same spelling, different pronunciation.
Not too many of us out there, but
very cool. Yeah. And you are with PIP?
Correct. Protective Industrial Products. We all say PIP.
PIP?
Yeah, they've been around since, I believe, early 70s.
Okay.
Should have brought my notes.
No, that's okay.
But I've been with them for coming up on 6 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been in the industrial safety game since 96.
Okay.
With
it's a pretty good run.
Mostly in sales, with distribution, and with manufacturers.
Okay.
So
very good. Well, I'm really interested in talking about some of the things that you do, some of the products that you rep or sell, and that's interesting to me. But I'm going to give it to Kelvin first, and the ASSP. Just, you know, what's going on?
What's going on?
And talk about the ASSP a little bit. Why
you should join. We are, like you said, a networking organization trying to collaborate. If you have a concern or a question, send it to our communications, and he'll send it out to the whole team, the whole membership, and say, "Hey, I have this issue. Can you lead me in the right direction?" So we have that opportunity for all our members. It's also an opportunity for people to join the board. It's not a lot of hard work or anything, but to be able to continue the safety on for the members, but also increase your skills and abilities.
Right. To lead an organization, actually.
Exactly. And I started at the membership level here at the ASSP and did a few jobs, and John mentored me over the last year and a half, and he did a really nice job. He knocked off a lot of
good.
Right. He got the diamond. Well, man, maybe not diamond yet, but I'm still Cole, but he's still pressuring me.
Yeah, of course. Nice,
But,
man.
so we're really, the knowledge base of the organization is incredible.
Incredible.
And the board is, I'm not doing this alone. All the board is helping me. And so some of the things that we have coming up, September, we're going to take the month of August off from our meetings. September, we're going to meet down at the First National Bank building, and Matt, the safety manager there, is going to talk about how to emergency evacuate the largest building in the Midwest.
In the Midwest.
And so,
Oh my gosh.
what are the planning stages? And so what can then our members will go, and what can you glean from that to take back to your organization and put into practice?
Wow. That really sounds like a fascinating subject to me. I think just the magnitude. So for those of you that aren't familiar, the First National Tower in Omaha, Nebraska is 44 stories or
I
something.
believe you're right.
45 stories, thousands of occupants, and the scale of that evacuation. We talk about emergency action planning all the time with every organization, and where do you assemble and how do you do your head count and etc. Who has to check for, the restrooms on the way out. Can you imagine doing that for 44 floors of essentially unrelated occupants? I mean, these are
Hundreds
various
of companies.
companies.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
really, oh my God, where do you put them? When they hit the street in downtown Omaha, where do you put them?
Mm-hmm.
I think it sounds fascinating to me. I'm really looking forward. How do you account for them?
Exactly. How do you account
Oh
for
my
them?
gosh.
And so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
September 21st, we're going to have our first golf outing.
Oh,
Our mutual friend Rob.
lucky.
he
Wait,
said,
what? How come I didn't hear about this?
Rob,
Well, you're one of the first because nobody else.
Oh,
knows about
okay.
this.
Right.
No.
Sign me
you
up.
can get into the initial foursome.
Yeah, September 21st. We're going to have we're joining with the RIMS group. I don't know what that stands for. Risk.
Yeah, they're insurance
Management.
people, right?
Yep,
That sounds
exactly.
right.
So we're collaborating with them and kind of globbing onto their golf outing.
Well,
Yes.
insurance people have a lot of money. So
True.
safety people have to glom onto the insurance guys when it comes to golf and country club life. and stuff.
Exactly. So September 21st, we're going to have an outing with them. And
Nice.
So,
Where's it at?
I believe we're going to be at the Knolls. That's where they always go.
Nice, fun,
And so,
fun.
and then Rob, if you're listening, yes, you are on the golf committee going forward.
Right. You've just been appointed, Rob.
Yes. And so we're going to have that in September as well. October, we have Toby Tortelli. He's going to talk about workers' compensation and how to
Oh,
help
interesting.
lower your mod rate. And then November, we're going to bring in Todd Longnecker from
Oh, sure.
from Commonwealth Electric, and he's
Yeah.
going to talk about NFP 70E arc flash.
Todd is really good. He's been on the program, and he's a really knowledgeable guy. I enjoy him, and he's very articulate. That's an interesting subject.
Yep, and I have him bringing him in for our
Fantastic.
service techs to get that knowledge and PPE.
Oh, you have him coming into MMC.
I do,
Oh, very good.
and so
This is a really interesting subject to me too, man, because every manufacturing facility that I go into is affected by 70E to some degree,
Mhm.
and they are all at various levels of competence. It is
Yes.
a really big undertaking.
it is, and just the difficulty of manning up and then getting them the
Mhm.
information and the PPE.
The training and even just establishing, to me, I think one of the most challenging parts is if you've identified qualified persons, if you have and you do,
Mhm.
you have qualified persons. Not every facility does, certainly.
Right.
And then what do you allow them to do? I mean, being qualified isn't carte blanche to do whatever you want.
Right.
So then establishing those parameters and limits, I think it's really challenging.
It is, and because we're a mechanical, we're not electrical, but we are
Right.
impacted by the
All the time. Yeah.
and so we need to know our boundaries.
Really understand it. Yeah. Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
I'm Kelvin.
Know our boundaries, please.
Yeah, man.
Because down in Kansas City, they've had deaths for mechanical. You're
I
right
can't-
in the
Yeah, you are right there in it.
and 220 and 440 or 480
Yeah.
pumps and fans, and so we're right there on that
Oh, very good. So Todd is going to come and do the hour program then for the ASSP, and then do a program specifically for MMC.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And so can't wait for that.
Well,
Then
that would be good for people just to send someone just to get a taste of what.
And that's what I've asked him to do. Give us a 10,000 foot
Mhm.
level from what do we need to know so we can go implement it.
Right. And then if we really need help, you can come in and actually give us the actual help.
Exactly. Yeah.
Terrific.
So,
What about December? What do you guys do in
we're
December?
nothing in December.
Just go to Doris's house and party or something?
Probably. And probably get somebody's membership signed up.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully. Hey, man, you sign me up. I'll give you my Visa number.
Okay, very
I've
good.
tried to sign up about 3 times and
That's funny.
the website rejects me. I don't have any felonies on my record or anything, so I don't know what the problem is.
That's
But
funny. But I have to still give you a hard time.
yes, because she said so. Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not for lack of trying.
Yeah.
Or wanting.
Yep. And then, so I think we're going to take December off just because everybody's busy, and then January have a holiday party. We
Nice.
usually get together.
Yeah.
Good networking.
Yeah.
It's a little bit slower, and
Oh, the networking opportunity, in my opinion, certainly is just really fantastic. And the level of expertise shared among that group is really fantastic. If you are new to safety, if you feel a little bit isolated, maybe you don't have colleagues in your organization, something like ASSP would be ideal for anybody that needs to know some people with expertise, maybe some mentors, perhaps.
correct.
It's a great opportunity.
And then I'd like to extend the offer in 2024 for members and non-members to join to be speakers. So
Oh, nice.
send a note to our greatplains.assp.org. Click myself or Samantha or communications. Send an email saying, hey, I'd like to cover my topic, because
Mm-hmm.
your topic is very important to probably 90% of our members,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we need to get that person's knowledge and skills and abilities out to everybody else. So
Fantastic.
there's an opportunity to share your information and knowledge.
I love that. Fantastic. Thanks, Kelvin. All right, Andy, talk to me, man. How did you get into this? Was this been a life's dream, a calling, or
No,
somehow a punishment of some
sucked
sort?
into the vortex.
Did you?
So
Like all of us, probably.
Yeah, I went to UNO.
Okay.
Right here, University of
Were you a
Nebraska.
basketball
Omaha.
player or something?
Golf is my thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I played.
ringer.
They didn't have
I'm
a
on your
golf
team.
team at UNO, so we started a golf club and paid for it ourselves. And I mean, Elmwood wouldn't even let us practice there for free.
Which runs
We
through
had to pay.
campus.
Yeah.
For
So anyway, we started our own golf club and competed with other colleges for a couple of years, and then we just kind of fizzled out. But I tried.
no kidding.
And
Good
it
for
was
you.
fun. It was a lot of fun.
So you must be actually a good golfer. I mean, you don't have to.
I mean, by
brag
my
about
standards,
yourself,
no.
but- Well, but by
But
your expectations.
That's my passion. It's my love. It's
Mhm.
my addiction.
Good for you,
Yeah.
man.
So
Very nice.
went to UNO, and that was the when I was there, it was the very first time that they had started offering their environmental science degree. I thought, perfect,
Mhm.
because I love the outdoors. I love nature. I'm going to go get an environmental science degree. And one of our classes was Flora of the Great Plains. And I actually liked that class.
Good for you. That sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
So I wanted to do something with that. And then graduated college and went to the Yellow Pages. We had Yellow Pages back then.
I remember.
Yeah. And I applied to every company under the environmental section and threw out my resume to everybody. And I got a call back from a company called Labatt Anderson, and they were in Bellevue, and they were a contractor with the Air Force. And they went around the country doing cleanup related stuff with Air Force bases. TCE leaks into
Mhm.
Farmer Brown's groundwater, and
Oh,
the Air
yeah.
Force cleans it up. And then 20 years later, somebody has cancer. Well, prove that you cleaned it up. Well, there's a document somewhere, usually in an attic in a box with
Mhm.
pigeon poop all over the top of it.
Mhm.
No one knew where the stuff was. So we first started going in, pulling all these documents out and logging them in a database. That was the beginning of that job. That's my environmental science degree got me, right?
Mhm.
But then it morphed into doing studies on, hey, we're cleaning these airplane parts with trichloroethylene, and is there a safer chemical we could use to clean these? And we did studies on that. And then we got to do some noise pattern flight studies, and I'm traveling, I'm, single, just got my own apartment. I'm flying around the country to all the different Air Force bases. This was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
We spent a couple weeks up in Langley, Virginia at the headquarters. And, I've never traveled before, I'm 20 something years old, and we're on the coast eating oysters on the half shell and steamed shrimp. And I'm like, this is amazing.
I loved it. Yeah.
Anyway, that job ended partly because of a government shutdown back then. But then a buddy of mine started working right here in Omaha at the John Day Company, and he was selling MRO industrial stuff. And they were just thinking,
what is that, MRO?
Maintenance, repair operations,
Okay.
just stuff for manufacturing,
Gotcha.
tools,
Okay. Yeah.
cutting tools and abrasives and all that kind of stuff that manufacturing uses. But they were thinking about getting into safety, because this was 96. Safety was starting to get more popular with the industrial sales world. And long story short, that's how I got into it. So I worked at John Day for several years, and then I took another job at IBT, which is headquartered in Kansas City, and it's the same kind of thing. They had a safety division, got hired on there, worked there for a while, and then I found my gateway into the manufacturing world. Honeywell Safety Products was hiring people for the territory, and I went to work there for several years, and then PIP came calling, and I jumped over here, and I've been here for almost 6 now. So that's my travels.
And
into
you are the regional sales manager.
Correct.
What territory do you cover?
I've got Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri.
So Region 7 by OSHA's definition,
Pretty much,
essentially.
yeah.
Okay.
And then we have rep agents who cover smaller sections of that territory.
Okay.
And they are the local feet on the street, joint call type guys,
Okay.
local support.
Do they work for you, or do you support them then with your expertise, or how does that work?
They work with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to do the direct to PIP type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're more distributor and end user related,
Okay.
more touches on that in that regard and whatnot. So
I went onto your website last night, possibly, and you guys cover a lot of territory. You cover a lot under the products tab. There was are you responsible for all of those
All of it.
things, or
Yep.
wow, that's a broad brush.
yeah, when PIP first started, it was gloves only.
Mm.
And it has progressed into almost all product well, I can't say almost all. We don't do fall protection at all. We don't do gas detection at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavily related into PPE, and we do get quite a bit into the arc flash and electrical stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you've heard of Novax
Mm-hmm.
brand,
Yeah.
that's ours.
Okay.
So we've got the rubber insulating gloves, protectors, sleeves, blankets, and then we also have a lot of arc flash kits, coveralls,
The gear, the FR
daily
gear,
wear,
and
yeah.
the face protection, all
Yep.
of that
arc
stuff.
shields, and
Balaclava, am I saying that
Yep.
right? All of those
Mhm.
things.
Yep.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah.
So,
so
do you have a favorite within those specific categories, or anything that you consider yourself to be a true expert in, or all of those things?
since I've sold safety for so long, I've sold everything.
Mm-hmm. So you know it all
back in-
pretty well.
Yeah. Back in the day, I used to love to do gas detection. I enjoyed respiratory. I liked fall protection a lot. And we don't do any of those now.
Well, those are
So-
really unique and specific
Yeah.
subcategories, man.
Yeah.
So it would be difficult to have true expertise
Yeah.
in all of those
yeah.
categories.
Yeah, it
That's-
does. And I've always been not so much on, well, I can't say the training side, but more the sales side.
Mhm.
But we do trainings
Okay.
along with our products.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's been a few years since I've done the fall protection stuff, but
Mhm.
so
Wouldn't take you long to get back
yeah,
up
no,
to
it
speed,
wouldn't.
man.
Yeah, I know the gist.
There's that new ANSI coming out this month, I think, August, right? There's on the SRLs,
See, I'm not up
new
to speed on
categories,
that
category
anymore.
1 and 2
August
SRLs and stuff.
August
right?
1st.
Yeah,
August 1st. So it's in effect. I mean,
Sure.
I don't know if it'll be enforced anytime soon,
Sure.
but it's certainly in effect. Okay. Well, so one thing with my clients specifically, but I think for everyone, the industry changes and evolves to accommodate need, obviously, as does any industry. But I think people, they will find something and they will settle on something. And I'm not sure they ever look to see if there are improvements, but this is happening constantly. Give us, like we were talking about helmets, hard hats and stuff earlier. Talk a little bit about that evolution, what the new products are like and why these new products are better, and or any subject matter for that. I think I'd be interested in knowing. I don't have the opportunity to see what's changing all the time either. It requires a lot of work.
And I got a close-up view to that. And head protection is a perfect example, because when I started working for PIP, we had JSP, which is our Cadillac top of the line, more features than most. Comfort, style, type of head protection. And then we also have the, I like to say, I don't know, economy compliance versions.
Yeah, they're compliant.
You know, if the hazards aren't that bad and the company mandates you wear head protection, you're going to want a $10 hard hat. You know, if you really, it just doesn't matter. But for the people who are in the field, who need performance and comfort and wear it every day, and their job is dangerous, they want the better stuff. And we have seen a migration of almost everybody wearing the economy stuff, don't like to wear it, pain in the butt, to now they're demanding retail type head protection that's upwards of $100 plus. And it's crazy, the large companies out there who are saying, sign us up for that. I don't know if it's because of injuries driven. I'm sure it is partially, but more performance too, and comfort. And perfect example of that is, regionally here in the Midwest, there's a lot of data centers going up. And a lot of these data centers have mandated certain criteria to PPE, and safety helmets is one.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have seen companies start paying, from the even the $15, $20 hard hat, all the way up to the $70 and $150 safety helmet.
The helmet.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. I think it's become more widely accepted that head protection does more for you than just protect something from dropping on the top of your head. Two stories. One, I've seen a video. I didn't experience this, but perfect example. Guy's climbing a ladder. He's halfway up the ladder or coming down the ladder or whatever, and he's carrying something like maybe he shouldn't be, 3 points of contact and all that. And he slips and loses his balance and falls backwards. He had a safety helmet on. So when he slipped and falls backwards, what does your head do? It whips, you lose your balance, and it's a violent motion.
Absolutely.
A normal hard hat would just fly right off the top of your head, especially if you didn't have that pin lock or ratchet securely
really
fastened on.
Yeah, which hurts.
Yeah.
It's not
especially if you're wearing it for a long period of time. But the safety helmets typically are required to have chin straps to keep that helmet on your head. And so he fell backwards, and the guy was actually wearing a backpack. So that cushioned his fall, and the safety helmet protected his head, and he got up and walked away.
Wow.
So that's a good story.
So that is a great story. Describe a helmet to people who are unfamiliar with what we're talking about. I mean, it looks almost like a hockey helmet to some degree, or how would you describe them? They have a little bit more, they have padding on the back, which is not present on a typical hard hat.
Right. Your typical hard hat has a web suspension with tabs that keeps the plastic dome off of your head. Okay. It basically just provides a little bit of space for deflection and impact if an object hits it, but that's it. It's a plastic shell. If that plastic shell comes in contact with your head, that's going to hurt. So it's not meant for that.
Right.
The new safety helmets, there's two ratings on them. Typically, you got your European standard E12492, I think it is. And then you got your ANSI type 2. And both of those have some kind of padding to protect you from not only stuff falling and hitting your head, but from lateral impact. And the ground can be part of that impact.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it evolve from just padding into new technologies now that also can reduce the rotational impact forces on your brain. So if you hit the ground, if you fall and your head hits the ground at an angle, you not only have the impact, but you also have the immediate stoppage of your head,
Mm-hmm.
but your brain is in fluid,
Mm-hmm.
and that wants to keep going and rotate. And so a couple new technologies that manufacturers have put into head protection is the one we use is MIPS. You might hear that term, and it stands for multi-directional impact protection system. So it's an inner shell underneath the shell of the hard hat that kind of moves independently of that hard hat. So if you hit the ground at an angle, that inner shell rotates a little bit and can further reduce the rotational forces on your brain when you're hitting the ground. Yeah.
Wow. Can you give me one of these?
Sure. Honestly.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm just envisioning my bicycle helmet. That is a
That's
worthless
where
piece
this
of shit.
technology
Right? I mean,
came
this thing that I've been wearing, this little thing that you put on that you kind of like might strap under your chin a little bit, but I just can't imagine that being very useful. And I come off my bike all the time.
But you do notice on those bike helmets, those are foam all the way around. On the
They
inside.
are not like a hard hat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
They're not.
primitive. Now, when you get into I think that's where MIPS was originally designed for, is skateboarding helmets and ski helmets, your higher end stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
those people have a lot of money, those skiers. They throw a lot of money at those helmets. I love
all their gear, right?
So what was the other story? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. About a month ago, a guy was wearing our newest safety helmet. It's called the Traverse. We can't keep them in stock. They're very popular, as well as a lot of our competition. They're selling the same type of thing. They're just everyone's buying them right now. Anyway, he was wearing this on the job, roadside, got hit by a car, flipped him up, spun him around. Apparently he got up and walked away.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't understand how that happened. But
that helmet obviously protected him.
They said that they believe the helmet saved his life because he had it on with the chin strap properly tightened to his head to keep it on. Because you can imagine getting hit by a car and getting flipped up and around.
I can.
If that's not secured to your head, it's gone.
It's gone.
And then when you hit the ground, it's going to happen. Your head's going to whiplash and hit that ground. And
wow.
So that was a pretty powerful testimony to hear.
That's huge.
A piece of safety equipment that you're selling potentially saves someone's life. And that's
probably a great feeling, actually, man.
Yeah,
I would be really happy with that.
It kind of wakes you up because sometimes it gets into the routine process of sales, or like, it's all about growing sales and getting more sales. Well, in the safety world, there's a little bit more to it because you can actually protect someone from getting injured or killed.
Absolutely. I think, I had always questioned whether or not I would be able to sell things. But I think if you knew that your products are saving lives, certainly capable of saving lives, I think you would look at yourself in the mirror at night and think, I'm doing a good thing. That's impressive, man. Good for you.
And I'll just mention another quick industry trend that we've seen is within hand protection. That's our biggest product category, right? So within the past several years, we have seen the demand for cut level go up. At first everyone's using a general purpose glove. And then, you've got your, let's just call it A2, ANSI A2 cut level. And then we kind of saw it progress to 3. And then we were talking about data centers before. They mandated a 4. So if you're going to be on site, you're going to be wearing an A4 cut glove.
Everybody,
and probably a safety helmet too. And now we see employers, well, what about a cut 5? You got a cut 5? I don't think about putting my people in a cut 5. And from a logical standpoint, I'm asking myself, why? Are they just doing this because that's people's nature?
Trendy or?
Got to be a little bit better. Let's get a little bit better. Do you need to get better? Are you cutting through that A2, A3, A4? Do you need that A5? Because every level of cut you go up, your price goes up,
Right.
and your dexterity
You lose a
potentially
little
goes
bit of
down.
dexterity, perhaps, maybe.
But that's the other cool thing with hand protection. Everything used to be a standard 13 gauge knit glove,
Hmm.
you know? Then we saw the 15s come in. Then you're trying to get ahead of your competition, so people are coming out with 18s.
And what does that refer to?
That is the gauge thickness of the knit
Okay.
material that you make the shell out of.
Okay.
And the higher number is the thinner, fine thread.
Okay.
Okay. So it takes a little bit more effort and expense
Right.
to produce that higher thread. So 13 is fine, 15 is better, 18 is more dexterity, even thinner. We're tapping into 21 gauge territory now.
But is the cut resistance increasing with this or remaining the same at least?
You can get it up there. We've got a 21 gauge A5
Wow.
with touchscreen compatibility.
Oh my gosh.
So now you can run your equipment.
You don't even have to
and
take
you
your
can
gloves
pick
off
up
to-
that tiny screw, and you've got an A5 cut protection 21 gauge glove on. They're not inexpensive, but they're not terrible.
Right.
But that's the technology we're talking about. You know, the advancement in technology of head protection. You've got your advancement in technology of hand
Mhm.
protection. It's important for people to realize that there are options out there. If
Mhm.
employees don't like wearing something, you're going to have a difficulty with compliance.
Without question, man. Huge problem. And they're not going to treat the PPE well. They throw it around. They don't take care of it.
Yep.
If it's good and it works, I think certainly there's better compliance on the part of the user, but they're going to take care of it. They're going to almost hoard it.
Mhm.
They're going to.
Yep. I've seen instances where, and it's tough to do with your workforce, but an employer has said, look, we're going to give you guys these best gloves, the best gloves that you love to wear. They're not cheap, but the breathability, the dexterity, the comfort, and the protection, they're going to wear them more often. And they have come to appreciate that, and they realize if they abuse that, they're going to go away, and then they're going to get put
Get the
in
shitty ones.
something. Yep. That makes
Yeah.
their hands sweat.
Right.
And maybe they don't have the best dexterity.
Mhm.
So they realize, guess what? They keep those gloves. Some employees actually take them home and wash them
I'll bet.
because they don't want to lose that glove.
Right.
So the usage is down. Yes, they're paying more, but there's a lot of different ways to do it.
That's really
it's a
interesting.
fascinating game.
You could give them that high-end version
Mhm.
and explain to them, the cost, and then say, if you lose these or mistreat them, we will replace them with that compliant pair that everybody hates.
Great idea.
But if you take good care of these and you simply wear them out, then we'll replace them in kind.
Yeah. If you forget your hard hat on the job site, we're going to give you this pink loaner
Crappy
for you to
piece of-
wear. Mhm.
Exactly. So this
Yeah.
is really interesting to me, man, because I deal with this every day. This data center thing, the data centers are so powerful. The contractors want so desperately to have those data center contracts. Every contractor I know that is working data centers just bought a giant lake house and a wave boat because they're making so much money
Really?
that they will do whatever they're directed to do. And the data centers are driving a lot of this evolution, I think. Is that you see that a lot on the
Yep.
data centers?
Yeah. The mandates, I can't tell you how much their mandate of an A4 cut glove and a safety helmet spiked our sales.
Without question. I'm sure.
Huge.
I'm sure.
I mean, every sales guy loves that huge order.
Of course.
We're getting huge orders that we can't fulfill.
Yeah.
And,
Supply chain, baby.
and that's the other part of it. Yeah. Where's it coming from? How long is it
Yeah.
going to take to get here?
Right.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's going on? So you're sitting there and
We're at all the data centers that he's
are
talking
you?
about. Yeah.
So you're doing these things?
Mhm. Yep.
What's your opinion of these new technologies?
I like them, but we have service teams that go to
Mhm.
everywhere else,
Mhm.
and then
That are not on the data centers.
that
Right.
aren't on the data centers, and then I need to go to the data center to fix something. Now do I have that stuff in stock in
Mhm.
my, so I can give it to him so he can go there. So
Oh yeah.
we're having those issues.
That's a challenge.
Mhm. And
Yeah, I bet.
Do the guys like the higher quality equipment? There is a learning curve. There is a period of adjustment for any change.
there is what I guess difficulty is, then that data center job goes away and now they're moving to a different one that isn't at that level. Do they typically go back to
Do
the
they
norm?
regress a little bit?
Regress just because they're going to be in the norm with everybody else
Mhm.
that's not in type 2 hard hat. And so
Okay, so it's more of the image, or they don't want to be the outlier necessarily, but they're wearing better stuff, man.
they are,
They're safer.
Yep.
Ultimately.
but we're a union
Oh
shop.
yeah.
So peer pressure is real.
Strong. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I bet.
And so, but
That's interesting.
I do believe that they do enjoy going to those jobs, those
Mhm.
data center jobs, knowing that, okay.
So
No
who
doubt.
pays for that PPE? Do you guys pay for it, or do you get
Yeah.
reimbursed by the data center?
Depends, most of the time, if it's in the contract, this is, we
What
have
you
to,
provide.
You have to do it.
correct.
Okay.
But then if there's a,
But you build
We're-
it into
we're in
into
there.
a bid probably then, knowing
correct,
that.
knowing that, but a lot of these times it's, oh, hey, we're moving to this. Well, that wasn't in our bid. So we go back to them and say,
Okay, interesting.
Here's the
But what
receipt.
about going to the unions and showing them the quality differences in these products? I would think the union would be on board as long as their members aren't paying for this stuff.
Yep.
Right? I mean, why wouldn't they want their members to be better protected necessarily? So I would think they would support those changes
Oh.
if in fact the employer is covering the cost or it's being
Sure.
reimbursed somehow.
But there's, I don't know how many contractors are fed from the unions that
Mhm.
they're not MMC of
Mhm.
whatever it takes to buy PPE. We'll
Right.
buy it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so
the
there's
smaller guys,
the smaller guys that get the same
I get that.
union level
Mhm.
of guys, but
They may not be able to cover those costs necessarily.
correct. Yeah.
It's interesting because I am all in favor of this. In fact, I'm just thinking about which of my clients I can put you in front of to demonstrate some of these things, or even, to demonstrate them for us so that when we're doing PPE training, we can talk about some of these new
Sure.
advances. I think that would be useful because, like everyone else, I tend to lag behind a little bit on new products unless I have a colleague or a friend who's introducing me to them, and then
True. Unless you've seen it and
you don't even know
worn
what's-
it yourself.
right.
You may not even realize, holy smokes, this glove is amazing.
Amazing.
It feels amazing. It fits me perfectly. It breathes. My hands don't sweat and stink. I forget I have it on.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't experienced that, they're out there.
Yeah. But this is always the objection because people are thinking about that glove they wore 10 years ago
Yeah.
where they couldn't even bend their fingers.
Yep.
They had that high level of cut resistance, but now I can't grip.
You
Oh.
just reminded me of another perfect example of technological advances. We sell a lot of impact gloves, right? On the impact glove, what they have to do is put TPR plastic on the back of the hand to
Mhm.
protect you from the
Mechanics type
knuckle
gloves, I see a
buster.
lot of those.
Exactly. We ran into a company where the workers, the flexibility of the gloves wasn't that great, but they were required to wear these impact gloves. And they would actually, their knuckles would become irritated when they were bending their hands. So they would cut off the impact TPR on the knuckle
Right.
so that they could bend better. Well,
Right.
that completely defeats the purpose of the
Yes,
glove
yes.
protection, right? We have a brand new glove that we just came out with that utilizes a third party's, it's called 3DO. It's a impact plastic, I guess you will. But we are having it 3D printed to the back of a glove in this fan-shaped space age technology, we're looking, you can bend your fingers with this impact glove and almost not even feel anything on there, just by the way it's designed. So we showed this company and they immediately bought them, just like that. Didn't
Wow.
know that technology was out there. We're the first ones to market with it. I'm sure many will follow.
Mhm.
But right now, we're the only ones out there that have a 3D printed impact glove where
Wow.
the resistance on the back of the hand is nothing.
Interesting.
And we put it in an A4 and an A6 cut resistant shell option. So,
Well, I got people that you have to talk to.
Okay.
I know you said you're incredibly busy and great, but I just met with a client last week that was talking about challenges with that very thing.
really,
hmm
well,
In fact, and dexterity is such a big deal for
dexterity is fantastic.
the
on this
dexterity is such a challenge for the older gloves
one.
that
Mhm.
most people have or remember. And so their employees were, cutting the fingers, the tips out of the fingers, so that they still had some cut
Okay.
resistance on the palms and hands.
And sometimes that's not terrible.
It may not be terribly inappropriate,
Yeah.
based on the hazards.
Yeah,
and the
based on the
work.
hazards.
Sure.
If you're never damaging the tip of your finger, if it's
Right.
all
Yeah, if it's
palm and
right,
typically it's
right.
palm,
hmm
they do make fingerless gloves.
Absolutely.
So-
I mean, even in the packing world, I mean, they wear multiple gloves, meat packing guys with chain
Oh,
and
yeah.
all the different, but I don't know that that's necessarily a fingertip issue. It's oftentimes palms
Sure.
and tops of hands, backs of hands and
Yeah.
things. So maybe it's all the hazard assessment
Right.
at some point, what do we really need? But this is really exciting, man. I bet you are incredibly busy.
Yeah, it's nutso.
And what else is changing? What else would we see a change in PPE wise? Gloves, of course. I think, as you said, gloves are probably what about eye protection and things like that?
Okay, there's a good
complaints-
one. You just made me think of two more.
Good, man.
Eye protection. Everyone's come out with a high performance anti-fog now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I get that. That's a bitch constantly.
If you ever have anyone complain about fogging, they don't need to complain about it anymore, because you can be in a freezer and walk out onto a humid dock. We got a high performance anti-fog that it ain't gonna fog.
Really?
Yeah. And they're not even that expensive. They might be 20 to 30% more than regular glasses. So if you're paying $4, you might pay $5.20.
Oh, they would do it gladly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every cleaning company that I ever worked with in the packing houses, that's all they complained about, fogging. We don't wear our glasses because they fog.
Yeah.
There's a $10 million contract right there. Can you cut me in on a little if I...
Yeah. Well, right when this
Can you
technology,
deputize me maybe or something?
sure, I'll give you samples and you can hand them out and be the rock star.
I would love to, man. This
Yeah.
is really huge.
I was when this technology first came out, I was at Wells Blue Bunny up in Lamars, Iowa, and they had at that time the largest freezer in North America. And they had a problem with, obviously, their forklift drivers are in the freezer. They drive out to the dock, their glasses freeze up. They take their glasses off, and just through the motion of the warehouse and the fork, they were getting particles in their eyes.
Mhm.
And then they got to go to the eye wash and rinse them out, and it's a pain in the butt, and it's a productivity loss and all that kind of stuff. When this company first came out with these glasses, I gave them prototypes to try before they were even on the street for sale. And they're like, we want 500 of them right now.
My God.
They work. You know, and
Incredible.
there's a testimony, man. They work, and they're not even that expensive.
Incredible.
So-
That is probably the biggest complaint about safety glasses
Yeah.
that I...
And this has been out. This technology's been out. Oh, man. That was 10, 12 years ago.
Really.
Yeah. So it's just
It
educating.
just takes a
people
while
on
for it to filter into
the
the
availability.
common work.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And just be willing to pay that extra $1.
Yeah, it's not-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not totally insignificant, right?
No, but
Yeah. But
but
they
got this
were
$4 pair. But
Yeah.
invest in
Mhm.
your people.
Yeah. And
Mhm. Yeah.
the prices
Kelvin.
come down. You know, we just put that high performance anti-fog on a low end economy piece of eyewear,
Mhm.
because there is a call for places with mass employees. Think of any food plant.
Absolutely.
They're
Yeah.
not going to want to drop a lot of money on a higher end glass and pay
Mhm.
$5, $6, $7, $8. We've got one that they could probably get for under $3.
Okay.
That's got the eye.
And they probably
performance
want the
anti-fog.
anti-fog function, don't necessarily need a high impact resistance, perhaps. I mean,
Yeah, probably not.
just
Mhm.
some kind of a basic cover.
Mhm.
I go to a lot of places where they just require eyewear. They don't even require impact resistant ANSI rated
Really.
safety glasses. They just want,
For
because
dust
it's more of a
or-
dust issue for
Okay.
them. It's not really an impact issue as much as a dust issue, but the fogging becomes a problem.
Mhm.
this is really big, man. This is going to change everything I do. I'm
Well,
not,
good.
I should have been, I should be taking notes.
See,
I'm not sure I was prepared for
Yes,
this.
product sales have a part
Absolutely.
in this world.
It's a huge part. It is really a huge part. And that's exactly why I enjoy having, people come and share these things, because otherwise, how do you get this information unless you happen to be, a big operation like Kelvin, or you're part of a data center project or something. If you're just a guy out there working, you don't know this stuff.
True. Well,
it's
networking.
fantastic.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're not a member of ASSP yet, are you? But you probably should be, because
I'll have to get PIP to pony up.
if you gave this presentation at the ASSP.
Well, he had me in for a head protection
Did he?
thing the other day. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Did you give a presentation to ASSP for that?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Exactly what we talked about, kind of the trend and features.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, what else, man? Anything else you can think of off the top of your head, or?
There's one last thing.
Yes.
You and I were just talking in the
Give us-
break room about electrolyte drinks.
Yes.
Your typical electrolyte drink of the safety world is what?
Squinchers.
Squincher.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There have been other ones introduced into this market. I've seen Gatorade, I've seen All Sport, and then there's a couple of lower
Element and some of those other.
I haven't seen that in the
Is that-
safety industry,
Okay.
but I've seen it on my
on the
Facebook
shelves, yeah.
ads.
Sure.
Because it's
Yeah.
something that I'm interested in.
I am too.
Well, enter PIP into the electrolyte beverage world. We bought a company in Australia called Thorst, Thorzt, and we're about to roll it out. And I've done my research on these electrolyte beverages, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
There's
Yeah.
a few things that everybody's looking for in them now. They're looking for a decent amount of sodium, potassium, but one of the more popular things that everyone's starting to look for is the magnesium
Absolutely.
and then your amino acids.
Mm-hmm.
And Thorst has all that in it. I don't know. Another one I've been hearing about lately is phosphorus. I don't know if we have phosphorus in it, but we do have the magnesium and essential amino acids and a proper amount of sodium. It's sweetened with stevia. It was developed by
Sweetened with stevia.
Yeah.
Now you're speaking my language, man, because,
Okay.
artificial sweeteners are
Bingo.
Satan, in my opinion.
Yep.
So I'm a
none of that.
stevia guy. Good for you.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Developed by Olympic athletes. I think the guy who helped develop it was on the rowing team. I hope I didn't butcher that because he just gave us a training about it. But we are so excited for this to roll out.
This is really big.
Yeah.
And it comes in packets
Yep.
that you just add to your beverage
We're
or water.
starting with the little,
Or is it already pre-made?
little individual package for the 20-ounce bottle
Okay.
or 16.9 ounce
Okay.
bottle. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
But yep, individual packets. And we're just waiting for it to roll out.
Nice.
I know we're a little late. We wanted to get it going this summer,
Yeah.
but we'll give everyone a little teaser and then next
Right.
summer we can rock and roll. But I'm
Absolutely.
excited.
That is huge. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, and we were talking about it earlier, just our morning routines involve rehydrating and adding electrolytes. You've lost a lot of electrolytes over the
And heat stress
overnight.
is huge with OSHA right now.
Oh, dude, when I was up in Minnesota training this week, I got 4 text messages. OSHA's on site. OSHA's on site. OSHA's on site. Here in Nebraska and Iowa, and they were making heat inspections.
Really?
They were out stalking construction companies and other, companies that they know where there are heat exposures, the grain industry, co-ops, and they were out there banging.
I just heard of a grain industry death yesterday.
Here in Nebraska.
Engulfment.
Oh, really? In Nebraska? Gosh, I hope not.
Nebraska.
Man.
It had to be local because it was on KFAB.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know.
That stuff still just makes me sick.
Terrible.
I have not heard. No one has texted me. If I get a text that says, please call me ASAP, I know some shit, some bad, some is that, and I get a lot of those, unfortunately. But I think this is really big. You guys are doing some great things.
We're rolling out our electrolyte beverage along with our heat stress offering. So we've got the cooling towels, we've got the cooling vests, we've got the sunshades, and all the stuff that goes along with that. We've got the cooling sleeves now. Have you seen those?
I have not.
It's a very thin wicking, almost nylon material,
Mm-hmm.
but you put it on your arm so you can wear a short sleeve t-shirt. You
Mm-hmm.
put the sleeve on, it wicks the sweat away from your arm and evaporates it more quickly into the air. So it's a cooling sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you UV protection.
Wow.
So anybody working outside, now they
Yeah.
can put on these sleeves and it's going to keep you, believe it or not, cooler
Absolutely.
and protect you from the sun.
Well, look, man, I don't mean to sound like, this is going to sound probably horrible, but it's, you look at the landscaping industry, the lawn care industry, it tends to be populated by dudes that come from hotter weather,
Mm-hmm.
and they are always covered.
I can't believe it.
Always.
All roofers that wear long sleeve t-shirts
Mm-hmm.
or even work shirts.
Mm-hmm.
I should
They
just
know.
go by one of their sites and throw a bunch of these sleeves out to
Yes.
them.
Try these.
Try these out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because being exposed to the direct sunlight,
Oh, terrible.
being, like you said, it doesn't wick as well. You basically just based in your own juices,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is remarkable to me. You guys are really kicking ass.
Well, the PPE industry has evolved with better technology,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just getting better.
I guess this is the point, and that's why you're here. And thank you for coming, and
My
thank you for
pleasure.
inviting Andy, because this is information that I think most people aren't aware of. They don't go out and check every year to see what's new in the PPE world.
Right.
We just use the same shit that we've been using for 20 years.
And try to pay less and less for it every year.
Everybody hates it.
Mhm.
And then it gets trashed and mistreated and
And
abused.
then your compliance is down.
Yeah, it's just a vicious circle, unfortunately.
Yeah. Invest a little bit more in your PPE, make the workers understand that you're giving them the good stuff.
Right.
And maybe, just maybe,
I think you would see certainly better compliance, but I would also think that in the vast majority of employees, there would be better care for the equipment.
especially if they realized, hey, this is more comfortable.
Right.
I like it better.
Right.
You know,
As my buddy Chris Bryant says, this isn't personal protective equipment. This is life-saving equipment. So treat it with a little bit of respect, and it'll take much better care of you.
it certainly can be. Mhm.
That's awesome. So how do people get a hold of you or find PIP, website, contact? What would you like them to know?
The easiest way to do it is to probably go to pipusa.com.
Okay.
Okay.
They can find a representative there. They can make contact.
There is a button on the bottom right-hand side of the opening web page, and it says Rep Finder.
Okay.
Type in your zip code. Boom. There's your contact info.
Okay. That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay. And the website is actually really good, man. I spent some time on it. Really interesting. A lot of information.
It is the best in the industry. And believe me, I go to all my competitors'
Of course.
websites to try to cross product.
Yeah.
Ours blows it away.
Yeah. It was really nice.
If you're trying to find safety equipment and you need a ANSI Class 2 two-pocket vest, you can go on our website to products, click protective clothing, click high-vis vests, and we have smart filters on the side of every page that you're looking for product features. You can click Class 2, it'll show you all of our Class 2 vests. You can click number of pockets, choose 2, it'll show you how many two-pocket Class 2 vests we have. Which one do you want? Do you want single silver striping, or do you want the contrasting orange and silver striping? Do you want X-back?
That's fantastic.
And you can be your own product expert like that.
Wow. I did not make it that deep into the site, but I'm going to go back and play with it a little
It's
bit.
pretty
That's-
cool. If you're ever looking for anything specific, I mean, had a guy call up and say, I need a Cut 5 glove, but it's got to have touchscreen capabilities. So I went to hand protection, cut resistant gloves, clicked A5 cut, and under product features, click touchscreen. We have 4.
Oh my-
What kind of palm coat do you want on that? Do you
Right.
need impact protection on the back of the hand? He's like,
Wow.
wow.
No doubt.
And it's that easy.
It's fantastic.
So
Guys, this has been fantastic. Thank you very much. I feel educated, better educated. What am I trying to say? I can't,
yeah,
that's
well,
kind of an oxymoron. I feel I are better educated, but this is really interesting stuff to me. And the demand is obviously there.
mhm.
And I think just people sometimes just settle on something and they don't look any further, and they really need to, because it just evolves constantly.
Yeah.
There's always new things coming out. Very good. Kelvin, always good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Andy, it's good to see you again. We cross paths periodically.
A lot of shows, safety
We do.
shows.
We used to cross paths all the time, and
Yeah.
now we're both, kind of busy and doing our thing.
Territories expanded,
But yeah, you're probably
traveling more.
exactly. Not
Yeah.
quite as fun as it used to be
No,
when you were young and single and
that might have been
eating
part
raw
of it too.
oysters on the coast. I'm the same way, man. I don't love to travel quite as much, but
Yeah,
if there's a need, then we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? It is what it is.
I
So
don't love to travel, but no, it
But
seems
we
like
do
I have
it,
to travel
'cause-
more. But
we're doing something useful. I mean,
Agreed.
Yep.
it's important work, and I'm glad that we're out there doing it.
and it can be fun.
It can be fun. Yeah, the relationships make it fun. So, well, thank you very much. This
My
is
pleasure.
really fascinating
Thanks for
stuff.
the invite.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks to you, Kelvin, and all of ASSP Great Plains chapter. We appreciate sponsorship. Always, Cam appreciates the sponsorship because it helps pay his salary.
Very
So
good.
we appreciate it. Guys, this has been really interesting information. I hope you go check out the PIPUSA.com website. Try something new, introduce something new to your employees. Just fantastic information. Have a great weekend, and we will be back next Friday. Talk to you later.